Hey guys! Enjoying our reaction videos? If you are, please click the link to the reacted video in the description and show the creator lots of support. Thanks guys! Okay guys, it's time for part 4 of TFS's Dragon Ball Top 24 Villains from December 2016. This is really fascinating to me. Well, again, everything TFS does is fascinating to me, and the more I can learn about Dragon Ball, and in all its iterations, the more fascinated I am. So, and these guys, you don't get better than them for breaking something down like they have these top 24 villains. It's interesting for me to read the comment sections too and see what you guys agree and disagree with, because obviously you guys know a shit ton more about these things than I do. But let's continue the countdown, and I also need to see where my boy Fat Boo comes in, because he was a villain at one time, right? So I'm assuming he's going to be on the list. And a lot of you guys have been concerned and telling me about how TFS, let me just mention this real quick, how TFS had all the DBZA vids taken down. I am aware of it, but knowing how these things work, I'll be very surprised if by the middle of next week they aren't all back up. But if I hear anything more about it or anything, or have any reasonably different, I would certainly let you guys know.
Is he a demon?
Emperor Pilaf. I've only learned a little about him.
Pilaf, the impish little monster boy with dreams of world domination.
Emperor Pilaf is the epitome of a gay.
Napoleonic complex.
Perfect for the infant days of Dragon Ball.
Is it? Oh shit! I spoke over it. Epitome of what?
Emperor Pilaf is the epitome of a gag villain.
Of a gag villain.
Days of Dragon Ball. He and his companions Shu and Mai.
Oh my God! I just got that pun. God damn it, Toriyama.
Are a batch of villainous schemers on the hunt for the Dragon Balls in order to control the world.
I gotta watch more Emperor Pilaf clips.
Quite effective at their job.
I'm pretty sure Team Rocket has had more long-term success than these guys. They're hardly intimidating, they're wholly ineffectual, and their designation as
Team Rocket, is that a reference back to that? The hell was that cartoon, guys? Is that what I'm... Do you guys know the one I'm thinking of? I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, well, again, you guys know my memory, but Spaz and I used to watch that cartoon that was all... something about Team Rocket. You guys will tell me in the comments.
is barely qualified by their overall motives and some questionable acts they put our heroes through.
But that's not what earns them this spot on the list. They're incredibly memorable, ridiculously endearing, and much like Team Rocket, they're a reliable source of comedy and charm. As Taka said, they were perfect for a series like Dragon Ball.
Even their evolution into henchmen via King Piccolo works, as their own personal
that's kind of
motivations
cool.
adapt to this scenario, and their own brand of comedy helps give levity to the demonic ruler as he needs it.
And it does seem, and I think you guys have mentioned this to me before, it does seem like there was a lot more comedy in the original Dragon Ball. I mean, not that the DBZ comedy isn't awesome, it is.
Funny and memorable these guys are as the original villains of the entire series. So while they may not be intimidating,
effective,
or have a deep, complex motive,
they're perfect, just the way they are.
Now who's
a little monster boy, a talking ninja dog, and a full-grown woman with way too much time on her hands.
11.
I like that last shot of her.
And now for the
Made me happy.
fucking opposite.
Mercenary Tao.
The myth, the guy who wears his job description on his back. He's Tao SKYPE, also known as Mercenary Tao.
While those
I know, you guys had me watch some clips of him. Yeah, I was underimpressed.
Interaction with Tao. He was one of the most dangerous, intimidating, and effective
that's the clip I watched.
entirety of the original series.
With the ability to throw a pillar and ride it at the speed of sound, use energy blasts that put the Kamehameha momentarily to shame, and kill men with his tongue, this
I did not see that part.
Is a mean mother who ends
That
up
would've creeped me
beating
out a
Goku
little.
in their first battle, nearly killing him.
While most of the other intimidating villains in this series up until now followed strict orders, Tao SKYPE acted with almost complete autonomy and had very little in the way of comedic relief. He is a cold-blooded murderer, out for Goku's blood and would stop at nothing.
And he so looks like every stereotypical villain from a 70s kung fu movie.
Until, you know, getting a grenade kicked in his face. It also helps that the actual battles between him and Goku are easily some of the best in the original run. And it's one of the first times you feel like Goku's life is really on the line. This pink parading ponytail packing professional puts prior prolificates to shame.
Unfortunately, while he's effective at his tasks, his motivations are realistically low. As much, he doesn't quite earn a higher spot on the list. That being said, His first appearance as a villain in the series is remarkably effective, and he stands high as a classic of the franchise.
Oh, that's cool.
Also, he comes back as a cyborg. Yeah, it's not quite nearly as cool as it should be.
Do you think it vibrates?
I mean, what's the point if it doesn't?
10.
Good point. That's the point.
The
Good
Red
point.
Ribbon Army arc for some can be seen as a transitional period for Dragon Ball.
Okay, this is something I know a
From
little
being
bit
primarily
about.
about martial arts and adventure to more of a serial epic. This transition can be felt in the mixture of serious action and off-the-wall comedy that the Red Ribbon Army provides.
Yeah, just
Led by the titular Commander
just
Red.
the little clips I've seen. Sometimes it seems like it would be hard to take the Red Ribbon Army too seriously.
This private army's sole purpose is to track down and retrieve the 7 Dragon Balls. They will uproot homes, destroy habitats, and murder men,
curious
women, and children for their goal.
What these guys with
Collective villains
TFS
are
will
rare
say
in
is
Dragon Ball, and the colorful cast,
how
pun
tough they
fully
actually
intended,
were.
that is employed by the Red Ribbon Army is a delight. Between Colonel Silver's ice-cold attitude, Ninja Murasaki's utter incompetence
Ninja
as a ninja,
Murasaki.
and General Blue's divine mixture of effeminate comedy and deadly ability, Goku and his friends have a tough battle on their hands.
They really do cause no end of havoc for the heroes and civilians alike. So Goku's assault on Muscle Tower and Red Ribbon headquarters
for a
is
while,
a
they were
fantastic
really
series of
badass,
events, and
huh?
it isn't until Staff Officer Black, man, and I thought the Black Ranger from Power Rangers was a little on the nose, figures out the true motivation of his commander that things start to take a hilarious and dark twist.
And the Red Ribbon iconography is all over the Android saga. Though that does little to actually influence their position on the list, it is good to recognize their contributions as a whole.
It should be mentioned that most of these guys wouldn't have ranked as high on their own. But together,
Oh,
they're a
yeah,
fantastic
that makes sense.
antagonistic force for our heroes. And their arc is one of the best in the franchise.
So they were
And
around
you
for a
can
while
tie
then, the Red
ribbon on
Ribbon
that.
Army, huh?
9.
That's kind of cool. I didn't realize how long they'd been around.
Speaking of a villain collective,
Ah!
here we have one of the few villainous
Yes,
teams
the
in
Ginyu
entire
Force.
franchise, the Ginyu Force.
I love their poses,
Sentai,
baby.
Toku Sentai.
Last entry, we mentioned the Power Rangers. Here, we see a full-on inspiration from the Japanese formula in full effect, with a group of
If you've
alien
never
mercenaries that are
had
as deadly as they are hilarious.
While the Namek slash
A
Frieza
gay
saga is
inclination in
known
your
for its
life, watching
high-stakes
these
drama,
guys long enough
tension,
would
and
give
the
you one.
longest
I don't mean that
fight against no
disparagingly
man,
towards anybody,
this
it's
gaggle
just
of goofballs
all the
runs
wilting
gamut
and
of abilities, strengths,
pointing.
and personalities.
Also
The Dairy Dorks
stereotypical.
are made up of 5 milky members, each based off of
Milky
dairy
members.
products. Ginyu is the Japanese word for dairy. Goldo packs the
didn't
protein
know
with
that.
yogurto, or yogurt. The deadliest combination for your arteries are Jason Burger as cheese and butter, and Rikum is cream, aka cream.
Kareem.
Are any of these
Nice.
implicitly sexual to you?
Goldo's ability
Surprised
to stop time by holding his
my
breath
arteries
is new
didn't
to the
clog watching these
franchise.
guys.
But even this game-breaking ability is pushed to the brink up against our heroes. Luckily, he pulls double duty with psychic powers that almost ends with the world's most kid-unfriendly kebab.
The fascinating thing about these guys is how well they get along with each other and how lackadaisical they are with their
Krillin
job
kebab.
of, well, murdering folks. They Rochambeau to figure out killing order and who will be lucky enough to take up the task, which makes them terrifying when their powers are put into full effect.
And these guys also give Vegeta the biggest run for his money he's ever had. His battle with the rambunctious, eccentric Rikum is a marvel, full of
Rikum,
sweeping
I always-
attacks and heavy hits. And the accuracy and
I don't know
precision
about
in which
effectiveness,
Jason
but I always thought he
Burger
looked
their
cool.
attacks would have been a match for any other character if Goku had not shown up in the nick of time.
It's good he does, too. Every single one of the heroes on Namek is at death's door by the time Goku touches down. But when Ginyu himself shows off his power of switching bodies, we have an evil Goku on our hands. Suck it, Black.
These
Nice.
guys may be some of the most
That's a cool
hilarious and
twist.
threatening villains in the series, gracing us with marvelous poses, dazzling powers, and even more
The marvelous
personality
poses,
than
told you
can handle.
guys.
It's almost a shame that they're one and done here, isn't it? I take it back,
Kinda.
Vegeta. Kill them all.
Well done.
So we've already listed
Oh.
2 homicidal androids on this list, but here
like
we
these.
have the fresh young hit
18's
villains
hot,
that would
but
become the major
I like
threat of the
16.
arc. Or well, that's what Toriyama
As
originally
far as just
thought anyway.
fandom.
Yeah. Remember when we said that Toriyama's former editor, Torishima, told him that androids 19 and 20 weren't fit for the role of the big bads? Well, Toriyama then designed androids 17 and 18, only to be told again by Torishima, wait, this time they're just some brats?
Can you imagine what the series would have been like if Toriyama never listened to his editors?
And their total domination over the main cast doesn't stop there. They manhandle every fighter who steps up to them, leading to one of the most one-sided fights Vegeta has ever fought. And
Yeah.
that's saying a lot.
Yeah,
for a guy
that's
whose
true.
major
I-
role in the series is
I
make
was-
everything worse than
Thought
job
16,
as hard
17,
as
and 18
possible.
were pretty
Jesus,
badass.
Spoilers, Kaiser.
Androids 16, 17, and 18 are exceptionally different from the rest of the villains who made the list. From their piercing cold stares, their consistently casual demeanor, to their relationship with one another, and the motivation that drives them towards Goku. They don't feel like traditional Dragon Ball villains.
I like the actress that's playing 18 in that fan film movie we watched the other day. I mean, obviously she's attractive, but I mean, she just seems to really, well, actually, so does 17. 17 and 18 both really have it down.
Their youth alone makes them stand out, but the way they talk and interact with others gives them this unnerving aura that belies just how deadly they are. And boy, are they deadly. In flashbacks and history of Trunks, we see them murder every member of the main cast, with the exception of non-combatants such as Chi-Chi and Bulma, leaving only Trunks to save the day.
I didn't even think about that.
For all intents and purposes, these guys won in another timeline. Well, until Trunks finally came back after Cell.
Their character arcs are also some of the best in the series. While the androids of Trunks' future are murderous and unrepentant.
First seeing them and thinking they were intimidating bad guys.
Android 16 provides an unintentional moral compass that keeps his two siblings from stepping too far out of line. Besides their somewhat minor infractions, he also slowly learns to love the planet around him and ends up sacrificing himself on multiple occasions to protect it, being part of the most powerful moments in all of Dragon Ball.
The points against these guys are largely that their personalities are a little flat. While their development and their casual attitudes work well to sell their intimidating and dangerous nature, they sometimes come off as too subdued. Furthermore, their role in the series is downplayed by the bigger threat that follows. But all that aside, they're a great trio who I'd have loved to see get more development. Hint, hint.
Yeah. It really is magical to see Android 16 become more of his own character as time goes on, and also to see Android 18's development after the Cell saga. While Android 17's largest contribution to the series is one of the very best fights in the franchise, his actual development is, well, almost non-existent. But his sister, Android 18, ends up...
Yeah, that's true. 17 is pretty much the same guy from start to finish.
This is Toriyama making another strong female character and putting a baby in her for the sake of keeping the status quo, but at least she's still a badass mama.
So, are we going to talk about how they're not androids? How they're actually modified humans, aka cyborgs?
Well, what about Jinzo Ningen? Hey, Kaiser?
Don't be a fucking weeb, Lanny.
7.
Nice.
Some people have a hole in their lives that they try to fill by having children. Unfortunately for King Piccolo, there's no filling the hole that Goku left. But his offspring/reincarnation has every intention of following up on his tyrannical papa's wishes for world domination. And more importantly, killing Son Goku.
Recently learned how much of a badass he was.
Best characters in the series, but his role as a villain is short-lived.
Yeah.
But whoa, boy, is it a crazy run.
I was gonna say, when he was a villain, though, damn.
King Piccolo's stomach, chest, throat.
Yep, there he goes, puking out a kid.
There's a hole the size of a 14-year-old in his abdomen. Anyway, he hatches to reveal a demon baby who is quick to explore the new world around him.
Fast forward to the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai tournament, and he makes his first appearance as an adult. At first glance, his green skin and devilish grin give him away as the Demon King himself, but it's pretty apparent that this Piccolo is his own Namekian. Well, not Namekian. I mean, he is, just not yet.
Under the guise of Junior, he enters the tournament with his eyes set on killing Goku, making his way up the ladder to do so.
So many people have their eyes set on killing Goku at some point.
The audience is slowly exposed to this new incarnation of the Demon King. Sinister and murderous, but also less verbose than his daddy was.
Poor
and adopts his own set of ethics and moral code. Well, with the exception of the whole murdering Goku thing.
Exactly.
What's an evil demon space alien gonna do?
Through his fights with both Krillin and Kami, under the guise of Shen or Hero, depending on your dub, we see shades of his villainy. However, it isn't until the climactic final battle with Goku where we see him come to full fruition as a violent, unyielding monster. He pushes Goku to the absolute limit in one of the most drag-out, visceral, and exhausting fights in the entire franchise.
The techniques and combat prowess on display here run the gamut, from flying to blast to Piccolo's.
And the more I learn about it, the more I do like Piccolo's character arc.
Put the best Dragon Ball has to offer on display with wonderful animation, choreography, and just I gotta watch it again.
Kaiser's busy digging out his.
It does get you.
Take a minute to recap the fights before.
Get you juiced up to watch
Piccolo's
again.
Appearance is a chance for both Kami to come to the forefront as a character in the story, as well as for Krillin to get one of the most satisfying fights the poor little monk gets in the entire show, surprising both the audience and the demon prince?
His battle with Kami also allows us to get a peek into the true nature of Namekians. While it's not explicit, they have a conversation in a language that's distinctly alien. though neither of them would realize this until later in the story. It's one of the few bits of foreshadowing within the series and really adds depth to the story. Also, Piccolo manages to reflect the evil containment wave, or Mafuba, again depending on your dub, in a turn that propels the stakes of the tournament, leading us to the climax.
But what's interesting about Piccolo Jr.
Damn,
is how he develops
I didn't know as much
after
about
his
Piccolo as I thought I did.
See, most other villains within the series don't really have much to do after they're defeated, mostly because, well, they're dead.
Right, I was just going to say, it's hard to have a lot going on after, you're deceased and shit.
Conscious effort to spare Piccolo, even providing him the means of recovery via Senzu, and then encourages him to get stronger as so they may repeat this all over again, which
That's Goku.
then becomes kind of a trend for Goku, for better or worse.
But it's this act of mercy that allows us to see Piccolo develop from a villain with a laser focus of killing Goku into what would be a steadfast, invaluable member of Goku's entourage. Piccolo joins forces with Goku to defeat Raditz, temporarily adopts Gohan, and even sacrifices his life for the whiny little squirt, giving us a true redemption in Dragon Ball. And it's a beautiful thing. We'd only see a story as complex once more, but, well, we'll get to him soon.
Let it be known, by the way, that I thought Piccolo Jr. and King Piccolo should have been one entry.
I respect your input, I value it, and I disagree with it.
I hear your disagreement, I acknowledge it, and you're wrong.
When General Rildo.
Fist fight at TFS. These are good. See, these are good because, again, even like with Piccolo, with characters that I thought that I know pretty well, and I mean, by my standards, I have a pretty decent knowledge of. Oh, that answers my question about Fat Boo, doesn't it? Part 4, yep. Okay, he's coming up. I didn't think he'd get a top spot, nor as much I love him, nor should he. So, oh shit, now I'm anxious for part 4. But yeah, even like Piccolo, that added a lot to his lore and his story that I didn't know. These are excellent, but again, it's TFS. Who would have thought they aren't going to be excellent?